Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And today I am coming to you as a satanic warlock, or just plain warlock if you wish, a practicing necromancer, and basically an occultist, a practitioner of witchcraft, sorcery, and the various traditions of 32 years worth of experience. And today I want to give a shout out to the last frontier medium and to Telia Swan, but also to that, I'm just going to call it the way it is, an idiot that really knows nothing about pact making or making deals with various different entities. Okay, now I'm going to give you a couple of references here. And this is based off the last Frontier Medium's personal page. And I've been following her for a while. She's got a lot of good stuff. Okay. I kind of like her channel personally. She's upfront and she's more honest than most. So if you got time, check it out. The only thing that I have an issue with when it comes to the last Frontier Medium is the fact that she's basically calling on things like Jesus Christ, the angels, stuff like that, but talking about God and all this stuff while claiming to be a demonologist. Okay. Now, being a demonologist and a practicing witch are two different things. That's first off. And I want to get this out of the way before I go into anything else. If you claim to be a Christian of any, degree, okay, I'm talking Catholic, Roman Catholic. Let's go with Jehovah Witness. What's that other one? What do you call that other one? The Mormons or the mainstream JCI. Judo-Christian institutions. Doesn't matter if you're into Hebrewism, Judaism, Islamic traditions like the Quran. Um, or even just the mainstream themselves, like Baptists, Apostolics, Pentecostals, those types, then you might want to delve into your Bible if you have one. I actually got several Bibles. Okay. And the reason for that is because of the fact that each Bible has a different wording. They also have a different perception of witches, demonolators, truthsayers, necromancers, and yes, even witches and warlocks. Okay. If you go into the book of Exodus, I believe it's chapter 22, 23 area, and it's verse 18, and it says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Okay. Now, if you go into the book of what is it there? The Book of Kings or the Chronicles, I believe it is. It's one of them. It's been so long since I've actually read it. The Old Testament. I'd actually have to go back and look at it. But if you actually get into these books, then you'll notice that King Saul went undercover to the Witch of Endor. And what happened? He lost favor with his God. Why? because his god turned around and had him beheaded. Okay, his two sons that joined him in battle against the Philistines died. Okay, this is what happens. Okay, they don't like witches. Okay, and this individual went underneath the cloak of night to the Witch of Endor, and she says, "Why are you trying to ensnare me?" Now, keep in mind, at the time, being a practicing necromancer, witch, black magician, sorcerer, satanic warlock, whatever, was illegal. It was basically a death sentence. This was the witch trials, the burning times. Okay, I'm talking the old school. Guess what? You're going to be set on fire, drowned, tortured, imprisoned for life, um, even set ablaze type Holocaust. Okay, and even today, these white light practitioners have corrupted the systems to the point where you have Christian witches, you have Christian Satanists. Now, it's a kind of ironic because it is, in a sense, a blasphemy against the JCI and their supposed God, the jealous one. So, before you get into any of the material, you might want to do your homework for history and mythology. Okay. Second of all, the term demon comes into two plays, and most of it is taken from the Greek source. You have the daemon, which is basically human friendly. Okay. Consider them to be angelics or, you know, half of the Devi. Okay. Maybe even half of the jinn, if you wish. But when you look at the other aspect, you have what is known as the cocoa daemon. The cocoa daemon was considered to be more demon. This is where the Christians got this aspect from. They're baneful, they're only interested in your soul, they're only interested in your death, leading you to possession and damnation eternally. Okay? Basically, they are baneful spirits. And if you look at the Jewish aspect, they have what is known as a dibunk box, a dibbit box, in other terms. I've heard it pronounced a couple of different ways, dibbit and dibok. So who knows which one is actually correct without actually going to a somebody who's a practitioner of Judaism or Hebrewism. Now, they have a box, like I said. You can name it dibok or dibbit, it doesn't matter which, personally. These boxes were created with seals and runes and magical writings that were to let's just say its main purpose was to trap a baneful spirit, okay, for all eternity, isolating them from the rest of the world. They would not be able to get in or out of it. They would just be trapped in it. I've talked about this type of box before during well, I should say after a curse that I had done for a client. I even shared a few live stream videos right here on my channel. Now, what's interesting is they're very easy to create. But here's the thing. The last medium, frontier medium, basically came out and she's basically associating with Christianity in their views, but yet associating with demons. Okay? That's kind of hypocritical, don't you think? Now, I don't mean to play the devil's, you know, advocate here or bash you. because I'm not bashing you. Okay, I'm just setting the record straight here. So the two videos that I'm gonna talk about right here. The first one is LFM slams Telia Swan on suicide. Okay, now personally, I understand her fury. I do. Okay, I'm an ordained satanic minister. Okay, I am an ordained satanic clergy. Okay, it says so right on my certificate. It says so on my business cards, and it says so on my minister's license. Okay, and it is documented with the American Fellowship. Okay, this is the only government agency that recognizes the ministers. Okay, within the United States. It would be like going to the Vatican and documenting yourself as a Christian or a Catholic minister. It's documented through them. Okay. Now, this is the thing I have the issue with when it comes to the last frontier medium. Okay. But it's not just her in this video, it's also these other idiots out there that only go by the JCI perspective. They have never read a book on Satanism. They have never learned the philosophy or the regulations and codes that we live our lives by. Okay. Now, I want you to realize two things. There are the nine satanic sins, the nine satanic statements, the 11 satanic rules of the earth, and the 21 satanic points. These were written by Anton Zander LaVey, founder and high priest or black pope of the Church of Satan. Okay. You have a group called the Brotherhood of Satan, which created the 13 laws of the Brotherhood. And you have the 11 Luciferian doctrines put forth by Michael W. Ford. Okay. Most of the satanic community follows one of these creeds, these three creeds, right there. That would be like putting all witches who follow the witch's oath, the witch's pyramid, the witch's creed, to know, to will, to dare, to keep silent, and to go forth. Okay? Now, in this case, I put underneath right here on this video, underneath the description, or I should say, was it the description, the comment, something I can't remember. You got the description, and then you got the details. I want to say it's underneath the details of what this video is about. And I wrote down occultism. I wrote down occult and a cult, basically CULT. Three different things, so that you will know the difference. Second of all, I'm speaking, and I've already named off the satanic stuff. Okay? So in this video, that she is literally blasting Telia Swan's proverbial balls, okay, to the wall on her I guess you can call it ritual suicide aspects. I concur fully with the last frontier medium. I concur fully with her because I've watched the video myself. In fact, I've watched a couple of Telia Swan's videos where she discusses this. Kind of hypocritical because she speaks on it and then did a different video and disputes it. Okay? This is actually true. Now, what's ironic here is the video that I watched, the first one, actually it got taken down. So I was glad to be able to see it on the Last Frontier Mediums page. Okay, I came up underneath my YouTube and I ended up watching it. I was astonished by this because of the fact that as an ordained minister, okay, we have to go by the legal laws. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that right off the bat here because of the fact that number one, whatever people tell us, we have to keep secret. Okay, we have to basically keep it to ourselves. It doesn't matter what religious or philosophical based philosophy that we follow. Okay, doesn't matter if it's Judaism, Hebrewism, Christianity, witchcraft, pagan, Wiccan. It does not matter. It's called confidentiality. Okay, and we have to keep all of this stuff to ourselves, except for one clause. If it becomes about life or death, okay? If somebody comes to you and says, I'm going to commit suicide, you have to notify the police, the local law enforcement of where that individual resides, okay? Because it comes down to physical harm, okay? Either to oneself or to another individual. It is your legal right that you have to step up, okay? So, the Last Frontier Medium basically is throwing Satanism around like it is just another Christian sermon. Okay. And I've already typed underneath her this video and the next one, probably about 3 or 4 times underneath this one here. The one on Telia Swan on suicide because of the fact that it's like, hey, don't bring Satanism into this aspect because it has nothing to do with it. A lot of people have a misunderstanding of the difference between a cult and the occult. Okay, which is why I put the definitions underneath here, underneath this video, and that comes from the Websters New College Edition, which was back in '07. Okay, 2007 edition. And believe me, I can't believe it's been that long since I bought that dictionary and its companion. Okay, so that was kind of a little surprise for me. So basically, I'm going to get under here real fast. Before I end. And I want to do that. I want to go underneath the. Oh, wrong one. So this is the. All right, give me a sec here. Got to go to my other hand so you can actually see it. This is the Last Frontier's medium's profile. Okay. And like I said, I am not bashing her. I actually enjoy her channel. Let me see if I can't get that. There we go. Right there. Right there. Okay. So you can actually see her. Okay. Now, like I said, she has a very good channel, and I do recommend it. She does speak a lot of truth here. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what she said. She mentioned there are a lot of, how should I say this? Number one, there was a couple of things that she talked about in the next video that I'm going to discuss there. But this one here, I wanted to dispute this because of the fact that she's throwing in Satanism. And she even mixed up the difference between a cult and the occult, which is why I put those definitions down below. Okay, so go ahead and go down and read them when you get the chance. That's kind of how should I say this? The gist of what this dictionary said. Okay, you can even go underneath the your Google account and type it in. Okay, as a definition, and you'll get the full perspective on what it is and what it means because it's like 3, 4, 5 different perspectives of occultism or the occult compared to a cult. Okay. Now, a cult is basically run by a zealot. Okay. Somebody who has a unique perspective of doctrine. Okay. That can manipulate it to his or her benefit. Okay. If this means, sending a group of people to their death, think Waco for an example. Prime example there. Or going on a murder spree. Okay. Think Charles Manson and his family, the Manson family. Okay. Back in the 80s. Okay. This is why the satanic panic came up for those couple of years, because people did not understand the difference between a cult and the occult. Okay. The occult is a system of studies of astrology, magic, and a few other things, including alchemy. Okay. Numerology, even. Okay. Geomancy, necromancy, you name it. It's right up there in this perspective. And it is the very classification of what a system of magic is about. The occult is about self evolution, it is about self growth, self enlightenment. It is about becoming from the microcosm to the macrocosm. Think of Satan or Orion, maybe even Tiamat, or let's go into the JCI perspective, Yeshua or Yahweh. Okay, let's go with Allah for an example. Okay, this would be the classification of a macrocosm, meaning big God. Okay, whereas the microcosm would be you. Okay, studying the occult, OCCULT, is about your understanding of the universe, your place in the universe. It is about your own knowledge, your own self education. It is about you understanding yourself. Okay. This means bettering yourself through these arcane services. Okay. These studies, these practices. Okay. It has nothing to do with any form of criminal activity. Okay. That go along with a cult. CULT. All right. Now that I've actually scrolled down and read a few of these comments, and a lot of them seem to be sticking up for Talia Swan. I mean, yeah, she has a lot of enlightening perspectives. I will give her that. But when you sit there and you do a video like this, and then take the coward's way out and delete it, and then dispute it, no. The Last Frontier was right about that. It is a coward's way out. Okay. As I tell people in my own videos, stick to your convictions. Okay. Step up or step down. Speak up or shut the fuck up. Plain and simple. Own that shit. Okay. Now I'm going to get out of that one and I'm going to go to the next video. And LFM slams. Wait, I just did that one. Wrong one. All right, there it is.
Vast, infinite, limitless realms.
Come on. All right, there we go. So the next one is TikTok gets red pilled on the devil. Okay. And this is also by the Last Frontier Medium. Now, from what I have said, from what I've watched and studied so far, she did list a couple of links under here. Ascended Candle Store, merch store, support this channel, um, and a few others. Demon Books, Demon Dealer, Demons and Familiars. That's basically her books right there. But let's see. Recommended videos. Teal Swan says to love demons and possession. Zach Bagans' Dark World gets interview from demonologist. Demon Terror cards bring demon terror, and several others, including glowing crystals floating to accidentally attracting demons. You know, a whole bunch. But in this video, she's talking about this girl on TikTok, and I'm going to talk about this too. So this, she is right. There is an increase of occultism and black magic and sorcery and stuff like that on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, mostly on TikTok these days, which is downright amusing, I might add. I mean, I'm sitting there posting books and sometimes a video of one of my altars that I use for public viewing. And it's interesting because of the fact that this girl says that you talks about selling your soul to the devil. She talks about a lot of stuff that she has clearly no understanding about. So I can see why the last Frontier Medium literally posted all these sites in stores, and I'm going to show them to you. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but it's right there, an entire list. Okay, hopefully that doesn't tip over. Okay, and then scrolling down right to there. Okay, and like I said, she posted quite a bit of them. Now the girl, I'm gonna try to get in here. So information. Okay, you see the redhead right there in the right here. This is the one she's talking about. Okay, she talks about candles. She talks about pacts, and she has no understanding about them. And again, the last frontier medium throws Satanism into the mix. It's clear that number one, she doesn't understand what Satanism is about. So I'm going to break it down into two categories, two main rules. Number one, self preservation, meaning you put yourself first above anything else. Number two, self gratification. I want you to look at social media today. You can't go anywhere without somebody getting butthurt. You're either getting, what is it? What do they classify that as? I had a friend of mine call it a dick pic or something like that. You go into MeWe and you get into some of these groups, and that's all these people post is nudes. And let's face it, some of them should not be doing that. Just saying. Um, but my point is that it's so freaking watered down or twisted into a cult manipulator's views of lack of understanding. I mean, picture Ellie Mercury for an example. Ellie Mercury, he's a good sized YouTuber. You know, you can find his channel right on here. He was on Facebook for a while. He claimed so many things and got his ass handed to him on a golden platter. Okay. So many people came down on that kid. I mean, he's only like 19, been practicing for 2 years, and that's not even that's like that's not even a depth level. That's more like an alkalite or neophyte level of understanding. You're a baby, a child in this. So, first of all, if you want to understand pacts, there are four main pacts that you can do. You can work with Mephistopheles, who is a Mesopotamian deity. He's known as a trickster for a reason. Be careful how you word things. Okay, he can turn it on you easily. He is known as a blood pact maker. Okay, think of it as you can sell your soul if you wish. You can sell your neighbor's soul. You can, you can give whatever, even promise whatever. That's the being that you want to work with. Like I said, that's a blood pact. The next is called an infernal pact. An infernal pact is a pact where you, as the practitioner, aligns yourself with a specific pantheon. Let's say, for example, a lot of people today in occult traditions, satanic worlds, demonolatry, or demon perspectives call it a dark pact. Okay, they call it a demonic pact, which is something completely different. Okay, and they literally have the wrong idea or understanding about it. When you align yourself with the forces of darkness, you are aligning yourself with a current. Okay, a color current. And in this case, let's say, for an example, you want to talk about hell. Okay, you're aligning yourself with hell. That's an infernal pact right there. That's number one. Or I should say, in this case, number two, because that's the second form of a pact. Now, here you would make a pact with Lucifer's Raphael, the ancient scribe and ancient pact maker. One of the more recent fuck ups and stupidity moments is a kid that is now serving a long time in prison, probably even on his deathbed, for execution of murdering two girls in London. You got Bald, which was shut down off of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and I don't know how many others. I'm only on a select few. Okay. So my understanding is he has a new channel. He has he goes underneath JD Temple's account several times. So he's still around. EA Quitting's still around. Yes, I am observant of my surroundings. So basically, this kid, in my opinion, is more of a Balg fanatic. Why? It's my way or the highway type thing. I'm speaking on shit that I have no fucking clue about. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that EA Quetting is that way, but he definitely knows how to manipulate crowds. And that's one thing I do respect about him. And the length of time that I've seen him on Balg, I have watched his channel grow to I don't know how many subscribers he had. I know it was huge, probably in the millions. So for a young pup who makes a blood pact with Lucifer Raphael and then goes on a killing spree, he was already looking for a reason to commit murder. That's number one. His parents should have seen the warning signs. Okay. And I can't tell you how many psychiatrists have put out books on this type of behavior. So that's on his parents, not just him. So the third is called a demonic pact. The demonic pact is where you align yourself with a particular demon, either a fallen angel, a Nephilim, or perhaps even a ranked demon. Okay. This is where you align yourself with that particular entity. It would be like calling on your patron or patroness, a spirit that is there to guide you, to educate you, and to lead you to the truth that you're seeking. And a lot of people get all of these first three mixed up. Okay? They get them mixed up, which is a sad fact because apparently we're supposed to be living in the age of enlightenment, the age of Lucifer, the eon of Lucifer, according to Turk Suzij, who based his system off of Aleister Crowley's Thelema system. It's the same old shit, just another fucking day. Okay? So, the last pact, the fourth pact, is called a Dark Pact. And this has been associated with demonolatry. It's been associated with ascension magic. It has been associated with video games, role playing games, you name it. It's been associated with it. Now, a dark pact is where a practitioner basically says, up yours to the world, I'm done. Okay? Now, before you jump to conclusion, this pact has nothing to do with suicide. It's more of ascension. Okay? Evolution. It is where you've basically walked away from the world and you dedicate yourself to the arcane knowledge. Think, Edward, you know, Edward Arthur White, E.A. White, or that of, say, Eliphas Levi. How about Aleister Crowley? Look at Anton Zandaleve. Dedicated himself to Satan, dedicated himself to a number of different demons, but to the forces of darkness. Later becoming, from what I saw in his videos, later becoming an atheist and finally repenting in front of a Catholic priest on a deathbed. So this girl clearly had no idea. This redheaded girl clearly has no idea what the hell she's speaking on. Claiming that anybody can do this. Yeah, it's true. Everybody can do it. But she also claims that it's not necessary, which is also a fact. Ironically, though, is you don't have to perform a ritual or a rite. Bullshit. There is a reason why you perform rituals, ceremonies. Any given system, from dark shamanism to like the Dark Had, going as far back as Genghis Khan, going into, let's go, the African Caribbean systems of ritual hunts, to say, for an example, well, let's go into Native American lore, folklore, going into a number of different systems, including witchcraft, Satanism, shamanism, necromancy. There's a reason why you use a circle of empowerment. Wiccans and pagans refer to it as a circle of protection. Where in fact, if they actually studied the circle, they would realize that it's a circle of empowerment. It increases your power when summoning spirits. The triangle of evocation, that is used to summon the spirit or the entity. Hollywood has this mixed up. Take blood ties for an example. The inverted pentagram with candles surrounding it. The guy cuts his hand. Hemomancy is the term of it. Today we refer to it as blood sorcery. It is or bloodletting. It is associated with a lancet or a sharp knife, controlled. Medical perspectives refer to this as cutting. It's considered to be psychological. They have no understanding between ritual or that of medical diagnosis. And they really need to update that. Just saying. So let's look at it this way. Blood has been associated with vampirism. It has been the link between life and death. The study of life and death for both of these videos that I just named off, you can go to a number of different systems. From that of, since the last frontier medium clearly picked out Egypt, you got the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Shem priesthood. Go into, let's go South American. Let's go into the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The Tibetan Book of the Dead was the study of dying, the art of dying. And this was basically the study of the soul's journey from life to death and the expulsion from the body into the spiritual nexus. Again, do your homework. You claim to be a medium. You claim mediumship has nothing to do with mind reading. Obviously, you haven't learned the definition of what a medium is. The term medium can be broken down into numerous different perspectives. Seer. A seer is somebody who sees and can speak to spirits. Telepathic abilities can fall upon mediumship. Empaths fall underneath mediumship. Clairvoyancy falls underneath mediumship. Okay? And it's ironic how many times these people claim to be something and yet they don't have the sound mind or of the understanding of what they're speaking on. There are 36 different types of mancies out there, from necromancy, geomancy, aeromancy, pyromancy, hydromancy, chiromancy, and spatulomancy. Those are the ones that the Catholic Church deemed illegal. The seven dark arts, according to the Catholic Church, the Vatican. And yet, there are 36 different types of mancies that are associated with mediumship. Spiritualism. In Buddhism, specifically that of Asian Buddhism, and she did speak on she did speak on Buddhism. You might want to watch that video as well because she didn't she basically not in enough words, but basically I got the sense that she was saying that Buddhism has nothing to do with mediumship. Well, that's a lie. Astral projection is a form of mediumship. It is the ability to leave your body and go into another dimension, realm, or plane of existence. And it's ironic because of the fact that the last frontier medium is correct on one thing. There is a hell of a lot of different planes, dominions, and, well, let's just say levels upon levels of the underworld. Not just not just hell, but in Asian Buddhism, you have the hells. You have different spiritual planes of existence, realms, and dimensions. The dimensions aspect, according to the Einstein Rosenbridge aspect, is, or even physics, your basic physics, is there is indefinite possibilities out there, endless of different dimensions. Christians speak only of one hell. It's known by many names, where souls go to repent, to learn to repent. Another one is Jehovah, Gehenna, even several others. I recommend you look into it. And in Asian Buddhism, there are so many different types of hells that you can't name all of them. Okay, and this is not even excluding the ones that I'm currently practicing from. Okay, and I'm not going to speak on those because I'm not permitted to. All right, so the lake of fire, well, that's a Christian concept. So you claim to be a witch, but yet you speak on Jesus. You work with Jesus and you work with Yahweh, Yeshua, or whatever. Obviously, you haven't read your Bible. Obviously, all three of you did not do your homework before you chose to open your mouth. Now, with the last frontier medium, I get she's upset. I mean, if you know her background, which I have done my background, um, uh, I can tell, my homework on her is I can see why she gets so emotional during these videos. But like I said, the only thing I had an issue with when watching these two videos is the fact that she's trying to associate Satanism, a recognized religious practice that's associated with the occult, to a cult. Okay? And she's actually got the occult and well, I should say a cult versus the occult mixed up. Okay? Now, I don't think she did that intentionally. I think it was more the fact that she was reacting on emotional unbalance. So I don't hold that against her. But I do wish that she would do her homework and think about what she's going to say before she says it. Okay? So many people get their ass handed to them because they don't stop and think. They don't add in um, references. They don't come off as a teacher. Okay. Now, with teaching from various different sources and making themselves available to the public. Now, she's got making herself available to the public down pat. I'd just like to see her step up to the other half. Okay. But as for these other two, tell you Swan, I'm highly disappointed in you. I really am. I'm I used to follow your channel up until this point. Okay. Always thought you had a lot of interesting things to say, unique perspectives, but then you had to go and pull this shit. So, no, you've lost my respect. So, that's on you. And as for this other kid, pick up a book. In fact, why don't you go back and study the basics? Because obviously you don't know what you're talking about. You have no clue about the various different types of pacts, what is necessary, or even how to perform these rites. And if you don't know what you're speaking on, then you need to go to somebody who specializes in demonic pacts, who specializes in baneful sorcery or even dark magic. Okay? Making yourself to look like a badass is stupid, it's ego driven, and well, I believe the last frontier medium said it best when she said that her ego is infatuated. Okay? And that is definitely true. It's not just the ego is out of control, it is the fact that this young pup, this young kid, this Bambi, I guess you can call her, is trying to make a name for herself. And I referred to her on the last frontier mediums on these two videos on this video as being a bulk wannabe. Okay, because you got so many wannabes that talk tough behind a computer screen, or they come on to a live video and they don't make themselves available and back up what they're preaching. Okay, you got so many of this, and then you got the public that jumps in from a JCI perspective, and it blows up into good versus evil, light versus dark, and then you got the news outlets picking up on it, and it's World War III, a well, let's just call it the way it is, a riot, inciting a riot, and that's what the BBC News did with that article by accusing EA Quetti. Okay, so and that's all they did was just simply accuse, and they clearly stated that they did reach out to him. He never got back to them. And it went from there. Now you got the government trying to get into it. Corporate espionage within Facebook. You haven't even got past the first shit that's gone down. You haven't even dealt with that. But yet you remove somebody without even doing any form of research for yourself. Did you even bother reaching out to EA Quetti? In fact, did you even get on to the forum and see how many idiots are under there? I can see why he kept his circle, small. I mean, you look at every video that he ever did. How many people did he actually commune with in every single video? Very, very few. And when one left, he brought in somebody else to plug that hole. So, reason why it's called adaptation, not just self motivation. Self motivation. It's up to you as the individual to enlighten yourself, to educate yourself. You're responsible for yourself and your actions. Own that shit. That's all I got to say. All right. So, with that said, I want to thank Gabriel Fisher and I want to thank Chaos Serpent and Infernal Twilight for jumping on here with me. I did see your posts, your comments under here earlier. Um, Personally, I don't know much about Ed and Lorraine Warren. I know she was a medium, a psychic. I know he was a Catholic good old boy that became the only unordained minister for exorcisms. I know they've written a few books, and I know they've done a lot of interviews over the years, right up until their deaths. They had a few so-called run-ins with evil forces, demons, blew up, you know, blew up their their infatuated egos. But personally, the Catholics have been putting out more exorcists over the last 40 to 50 years than ever before because of all the individuals getting into the occult. Because these individuals are learning the truth, they've left the church, the archdiocese, and anything else to join witchcraft because it works. They're becoming more happy. Oh, they're associating with demons. Got to do an exorcism. You got all these Christians jumping in here now over the last 10 years or 20 years, sitting there going, oh, well, I used to be a satanic high priest. Now I'm a Christian. I'm going to show you all these symbols and what they mean. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Look at John Ramirez. Do I have to remind you about the video I did on John Ramirez? I didn't just call his shit out on social media by his own words, naming various different videos, but I also shared to one of his followers named Heather in a live video. I brought up videos, several videos of his lies. His story kept changing. Ed and Lorraine Warren were the same thing in my book. Yeah, they stuck to their convictions. I respect that. But like I said, I don't follow them. I don't know much about their lives. I know that they, like I said, I know they just what the stories and the news outlets called for them. They had their own little museum of occult artifacts. The Annabelle doll was the biggest one. Valak, case over in England, or the Devil House. Who knows who they were, or what they really did behind closed doors when the cameras were off. They never documented that aspect. They only stick to the main stories. You go underneath YouTube, you go underneath Google, it's the same freaking stories. Those three stories is the only thing they did. The Conjuring 1, 2, and 3. I believe the third one just came out last year, if I remember correctly, or earlier this year. Interesting how that happens. But yet, people cling to the JCI. The devil's story never gets heard. And if people do speak on the devil, well, they get shut down or look like idiots. So what's the point? Let's see. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the Temple of Set. I really don't. I know Michael Aquino was a part of it, and I know a few members of the COS left and joined that cult, that satanic sect. But I don't really know much about them outside of the fact that they worship Seth or Set, the Egyptian god of storms and chaos. I believe he's got a few videos on YouTube, though. I've watched a couple of them, but that's about it. And happy Yule to you too. All right. So that's basically what I wanted to discuss here. I wanted to give you actual proof and insight through sources and education that the last frontier medium did not go into, and actually give you areas to actually look into. For the record, the Shem priests were sometimes run out of town, sometimes murdered, and also upheld through various different degrees of rank within a temple setting. From those who performed the rites to the whispers and all that stuff from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. They were to another one being the modern day mortician, if you wish, removing the four main articles, organs. Another one, washing the body. Another one, starting at the feet and mummifying. Okay, and it's ironic that one of them actually created the Hashashin out of Pakistan. Might want to look into that. Also, look into dark shamans. The dark head and their rites and rituals through black or dark shamanism. Again, get into rituals and ceremonies. Get into the grimoire systems, and you'll see various different degrees of rites and rituals that can be performed. More modern day traditions, if we follow, let's say, for example, Turk Suzij, the demonic Bible, there's a dedication process where you name off different parts of your anatomy, say your feet, your toes, your lips, your eyes, your mouth, your manhood, your womanhood, your back, your buttocks, whatever. And you dedicate it and consecrate it to Satan, Lucifer. You give your your mind, body, and soul to Lucifer. Your blood as well. Then there's also calling on various different types of demons If you go underneath traditional Satanism, the Tentatio Diabolus, which is made up of 3 different books. It's 3 books in 1. The Devil's Bible, for an example, has a 3-day process of annotation and pact making. Okay, and spiritual summoning of a demon. If you get into, let's say, Anton Zandaleve's Bible, the demonic Bible, you have the invocation to Satan. Okay, and you name off the various different types of demons or devils. Okay, so every satanic minister or priest or priestess has their own. If you get into the JOS, and I know a lot of people seem to have their a hair across their ass when it comes to the JOS, Joy of Satan. They delve into hermeneutics, they delve into occultism, they delve into Buddhism and several other systems. And they also get into a little bit of neo-Nazism. So you're getting into, for an example, maybe 3% neo-Nazism when it comes to the views of the occult, and then the rest is all actual practice, such as the Kundalini, the mantra, the chakra systems, and the various different types of meditational rites that one can do, not just the rituals. And then you got Priestess Maxine, which basically has an entire priestess ministry right here on their on YouTube that she, let's just say, it's all sex wise. Okay, it's all sexual orgy type things with demons. And that was the other thing that the last Frontier Medium actually mentioned when dealing with this second video that I mentioned here, that she commented on. So there is a lot of things that these 2 videos topic wise that was covered. I just spoke on just a few things just to clarify what is and what is not, because she kept throwing Satanism into the mix. That is Satanism. That is devil worship. That is this, that, and whatever. Well, guess what? If you are a demonologist and a witch, you should know the difference between different styles, practices, denominations. I've been a satanic warlock for 30 years. The last 2 to 3 years, I've delved into, guess what? Necromancy. I've been initiated into Santeria and Pedo Mayambi. Okay. But I've also practiced Haitian Voodoo through Papa Gedi and Baron Simadi, Baroness Dambella. I work with Oya, okay, within the Oasia, goddess of the dead, the saint of death. I work with Santa Morte, okay, but I also have demonic lords that I work with. So there's a lot of things that were not discussed and not properly observed through these 2 videos. So this had to be addressed. And like I said at the beginning, I am not bashing the girl from the last Frontier Medium. I am not bashing her. I am not scolding her. I'm just setting the record straight. Okay? So with that said, like I said, I want to thank Gabriel Fisher for jumping on here with me. I want to thank Chaos Serpent of Internal Twilight for jumping on here with me. And until next time, have a good one and happy Yule. Hope you celebrate. Hope those gates are open for you. Hope you get what you're looking for in the next year. All right. Work with the god, the horn god, Pan, Kronos, depending on which god you serve there. It could be Satan, it could be Loki, could be Chernobog, it could be Orion, could be Set, for all I know. Okay, but whoever you work with. All right. The Lord, the seed giver, create. All right. Have a good one.